This atheist debates a room full of Christian students, and he kind of destroys their questions, and things start to get really spicy right off the bat, but he's also keeping a secret from them that he's going to reveal later in this video, so stay tuned. Let's get into it.
Hi. I'd just like to say thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And from here, it looks like you have a wedding ring on. Are you married?
Am I married? This is getting really personal.
Just answer.
Just answer, wow.
Yes, sir. What is your standard for love? If you have no foundation in Jesus, I see no reason to love people at all. So what's your standard?
Well, okay, shh. I can tell you my standard is not Jesus. Because despite what people say, he did and believed a lot of things we all know are not loving. And I'll give you some examples of this. Supposedly there's demons. Wait, don't leave. She might want to follow back up. Don't leave her. Oh, you do have the mic. Supposedly there's demons, and instead of casting them out, he runs them into a herd owner's pigs and sends, 2,000 pigs into the ocean. Like, why would Jesus, if he was God, he didn't have to ruin the guy's herd. That didn't sound very loving to me. Second, Jesus believes in the Old Testament, and you look at a lot of the violence in the Old Testament, that's hardly the kind of thing a loving God would do. So I don't look to the Bible for love. Now, are there some things Jesus taught that were good? Sure. Like loving your enemies, that's a pretty powerful teaching he taught. I'm okay with that. My standard of love doesn't come from some ancient book written 2,000 years ago. It comes from common sense and reflection on how human beings best flourish. So I just look at my wife and I say, what words can I say that are kind to her? How can I treat her respectfully? How do I be a good husband? How do I be a good dad? How do I be faithful to her? Like these, you might say these are Christian values, but they're also Buddhist values. They're also Hindu values. That's because they're human values. So I don't need an ancient book to know what it means to love my wife.
You use the story of Jesus casting out the pigs, but he never sent them to the pigs. All he did was cast the demons out of the man, and they fled in fear of Jesus into the pigs and ran off the cliff. The story you told made it seem like Jesus basically sent the demons to possess the pigs and killed them. So that story doesn't really work. It's an example of Jesus not being loving because you didn't tell the actual story.
Okay, I'm not following you. Maybe it's because the mask. But let me ask you very quickly. Do you believe Jesus is God?
He is the Son of God.
Yes or no? Is Jesus God?
Yes.
Could Jesus have cast out the demons without killing the thousands of pigs that man owned? Yes or no?
God has given everything.
Yes or no, could Jesus have casted out those demons without killing the man's pigs? Yes or no?
You're limiting the question to two answers that aren't necessarily the only two answers.
No, actually, these are exclusive options. Either Jesus could have done it, or he could not have done it. There is no third option. Did Jesus have the power? Let me answer it for you. If Jesus is God, he can cast out demons without sending them into a bunch of pigs. Who agrees with that? Let me see your hands. If Jesus is God, he can cast out demons without sending them into pigs. Who agrees with that? It's not very hard. And so given that he could have done something without harming the man's property, and he didn't, at least raises the questions of his loving actions towards that man. If you own those pigs, I think you'd have felt very differently.
The demons fled. He didn't cast them out. They saw Jesus and they knew who he was. They were afraid. They ran away. God has given living things free will, so he can't force them to do something.
Sure he can.
All right, tell me how.
He does it all the time when you read the scriptures. He forces demons out of people. He could kill a demon if he's God. He's God. It's not that hard. Now, you're right, they recognized him, but that was at the beginning. at the end, he could have sent them anywhere. So if they were going to go back into that man, could he have stopped them from going back into that man?
Yes.
Yes. Then I think you answered your question.
You didn't answer the question about Jesus being loving. You just keep avoiding the questions people ask.
Wait, Jesus, I didn't answer the question about Jesus being loving?
No. We've asked you how you define love, and all you did was tell us a mixed up story about how Jesus cast out demons and sent them to pigs.
Okay, I'm not sure you were listening. She asked me how I define love, and I
didn't
said,
define it.
I don't define it by the Bible. I don't look to Jesus because of stories like this. And then I went on to explain how I know what it means to love somebody independently of the Bible. That was the point. So to love somebody is simply when you care about that person's emotional and physical and their life development. That's what it means to love somebody. I don't need an ancient Bible to tell me that. That's common sense. And I apply that in my relationship with my wife. So I did answer the question.
All right. I also have another...
You've asked a few, no alsos. Let's go to someone else.
That was one.
Let's do one, go.
Dude, I'm wondering, because as a Christian, I base my morality and like objective beliefs by the ethics Jesus taught. So I'm wondering, as an atheist, what you perceive right and wrong as, and if you judge it based on what you personally view as right and wrong, what gives you the right to punish criminals or people who commit genocide if they're acting upon their own will and what they perceive as right?
Okay, so I think I heard you. When I'm done, if I didn't answer, come back. The question is, how do I define morality and what gives me the right? I don't think I have the right. Morality is made by societal judgments as a whole, based upon what behavior brings flourishing and freedom for the society. I never said I'm an individual relativist who decides right and wrong. We can actually look at certain behavior. Sam Harris lays this out in his 2011 book, The Moral Landscape, that certain behavior contributes towards moral flourishing and some behavior takes it away. We can assess this. It's not opinion, it's actually fact.
So if it's based on what society deems right and wrong, like you're saying...
No, I didn't say that.
I
didn't say that.
I thought you just said it was based on what society deems right and wrong.
I never said that. I said I don't have the right to punish somebody.
Oh, okay.
Societies and governments have that right.
Have that right.
By the way, even if I were a Christian, I would believe that because of what Paul says in Romans 13. Yeah. So it's not an individual assessment. Morality is determined by looking at human behavior and seeing its outcomes and flourishing or lack of flourishing with others. So I'm not a societal relativist, even though society carries out that moral duty. Just like society gives us education, society has other roles and responsibilities. Here's the deal. We're running out of time, so I'm going to take the last 15 minutes and tell you about what I really do. I'm not a philosophy professor. I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I actually teach at a Christian university in Southern California.
One very important question I feel like the students really needed to ask here was, who gets to define human flourishing in his worldview? Because even if you're still using objective empirical measures to try and quantify what human flourishing is, the standard which you're judging what flourishing is still subjective to the individual, or at the very least what the society agrees on, which falls right back into societal relativism that Sean was claiming he didn't support in this scenario anyways. And that's a problem because, well, Dostoevsky put it nicely in his book, The Brothers Karamazov, when he said, without God, everything is permissible. And William Lane Craig, I think, said it best when he elaborated on this idea, when he said, if there is no God, then objective moral values and duties do not exist. If God does not exist, then moral values are just expressions of personal taste or the byproducts of socio-biological evolution. For example, if we take the Nazis and their regime, they thought that human flourishing was establishing a superior race and suppressing other races. If we take us in America a couple hundred years ago, we thought that human flourishing meant creating a subclass of humans and putting them in enforced labor. And I think we can agree that those things are not right. And there will still be atheists who will say to me, like, I don't need a Bronze Age text to decide morality. I'm not an evil person because I don't believe in the Bible. And you are not an evil person if you don't believe in the Bible. My roommate and some of my best friends are atheists, and they are like great people. I love them so much. But what I'm trying to get at here is that you cannot make like an objective moral claim and say that murder is absolutely wrong if you don't have some authority that's outside of you. But then I'll get asked from my atheist friends like, oh, isn't it kind of a jump to say if there is objective moral laws, then there has to be God? I'm not really seeing the connection there. And what I say then is that because these moral objective laws exist, it demands a moral lawgiver that is transcendent to us. And I think that the best explanation for who or what that could be is God, because I don't think it can come from humans, as we just talked about a minute ago. And comment down below if you thought that Sean was a Christian when you figured it out, if you even figured it out at all. I think it could be fun to talk about. It took me a long time, honestly. The comment section spoiled it for me a little bit, but that's okay. Anyways, if you want to see a video similar to this one, you want to learn more about the evidence for God, I recommend checking out the video on screen. With that being said, I love y'all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.